Welcome to Time Out, your no-flop zone. We're back. I'm Boti Nagy. I'm here with the dunking, blocking, Masters Games star, Joey Wright. How are the injuries, Joey?
Definitely not a star at all. No, injuries are, I'm coming back. I'm going to make a comeback. Yeah.
Okay. It's fantastic, isn't it, when your mind's trying to cash checks that your body can't actually pay off.
My mind was 19 and my hip was 79 and my hamstring was 59.
Okay, we're talking about 59, which is one of the many scores in the early days of the 40-minute game where the guys used to get. We had a 46-point game in this run last weekend from your man, Chris Goulding. So that he must have been seeing the ring like a hula hoop, really, honestly.
Well, he was definitely in the zone. Like, Chris is one of those guys that if he hits one shot, he thinks he's in the zone. He's guaranteed to take the second shot if he hits one. So he's always thinks he's in the zone, but he was truly in the zone the other night. You could tell by his mannerisms where his focus was. Good to see. Definitely good to see.
Speaking of which, let's see it.
Third versus sixth, two of the biggest names in the NBL. Goulding catch and shoot. That's more conventional.
That's down. That's down.
Goulding does. Almanza fell asleep for 0.1 of a second. Goulding, high degree of difficulty.
This one is just individual brilliance.
Goulding's on a tear all of a sudden. There's two more, 10 in the corner. Illy for Goulding.
Oh dear.
Good Lord. It takes a certain type of player to be knocking down these sorts of shots.
He's in his bag. 6 triples.
That can be me.
Here's 7. 7 made threes for Chris Goulding. This is extraordinary.
Todd Withers, you better get inside his shorts. Here he comes.
The anticipation in the building. This
Wow.
unbelievable. Counted Pinder all alone. The Perth Wildcats were scorched by that man in the third quarter. That man now has a 40-piece. Trying to get Goulding involved. He turns the corner and he owns the moment with his 9th three of the night. Fittingly now the ball in the hands of Goulding to make a winning play and to seal the game.
CG 46.
Get on your feet, Melbourne United fans, because your boy just put on a show.
An unforgettable night at John Cain Arena.
I was trying to get 50 at the end.
So, yeah, he was just killing. But it's interesting to me that the NBL should come out and say that his 50-point game is the previous one a decade ago with Melbourne Tigers is the highest score in a 40-point game when Reg Biddings hit 63 back in 1982. No three-point line.
Yeah.
So that's a fairly good achievement.
Yeah, Sir Reg, let's give some credit to Sir Reg because he was definitely not just a great ball player. He was an icon in the league and one of the first great showmen to come over here. I got a chance to spend a lot of time with him. Never played against him, but I spent a lot of time when he was on the Gold Coast, and he was just such a great dude. And it was like being with a superstar celebrity that, like if you hung out with him, he was just on a different level. He was just on a different level and just brought some crazy energy. I love Sir Reg.
He was originally recruited into Adelaide by Forestville when they were playing in the NBL, and then I'm not sure if he ever played for the 36ers. I think he might have had a season with them, and then moved interstate and ended up on the Gold Coast where he became quite the character, didn't he?
Yeah, ride around in a convertible Rolls Royce. Don't call me Reg, it's Sir Reg.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, brother.
Okay, well, from the highs to the lows, because we saw the Scott Roth press conference after Tasmania had beaten New Zealand, which we're just going to watch a bit of here in a second, but it was pretty distasteful what had gone on.
This last 24 hours has been quite emotional for our group, very emotional, and we have a lot of distraught players and family members and wives and spouses and children. And we have been attacked brutally through social media to the point where it's ugly, the threats. We have a player that's wife is pregnant and they wish for a miscarriage. And these attacks have been going on for weeks, and it came to a head yesterday. We deserve better. We've worked very hard here for 3 years. And it's not just gamblers. Our guys show up every single day to do their work. You don't need to attack them. You're going to attack me. If you don't like the way we play, I get it. But to go after people's mothers, fathers, kids, and do that in the brutal way that has transpired, it's beyond crossing the line. And when you have now family members scared to go outside their house, kids reading what they're reading, and the NBL must do something.
So yeah, when you see that, you sort of think, what are people having to deal with today?
Well, yeah, anybody that's going to stand out and stand up, social media is going to try to pull them down. That's all it does. It's a bunch of people there with miserable existence that's trying to pull on what great people are doing. And the unfortunate part about it, just because you're good and at a sport, or a great actress or actor or whatever, you're still a human being. You're still a person. So if someone's keep throwing negative comments at you, negative comments, it eventually affect you, and you not want to maybe do your craft anymore. I just think in today's game, all the teams, they should put parameters on the comments that come through, and if it's a negative comment, get rid of it. What's the benefit of having a negative comment on your social media post? So just search your parameters, or have all your social media managers go through and just delete all the negative comments. I don't know why they're even there. The negative.
Yeah, I mean, it was different in your time because you could it was just mainly newspapers, really, wasn't it? Where you might be criticised, and your attitude was.
The last 10 years I coached, the last 10 years it was definitely, I just tried to keep my circle small, and you always get the odd person run up to you and did you hear what they said about you on social media? But other than that, I never looked at any of the comments and tried to stay away from it totally, 100%. I never commented on social media about basketball, not personal comments about basketball, just general basketball comments.
But that's the difference with today's players, is that if you're looking at them and say we take 25 as the average age, then they've all grown up with their telephones. Yeah. So you can't just say, ignore it, don't read it. It's almost unavoidable for them.
Well, look, I having coaching imports who played in non-English speaking countries and then coming to Australia, it's a big difference. One of the first conversations I have with them is, you're going to read comments now that are in English about you, where you've been playing in Japan or Turkey. You can pretty much ignore 90% of the comments because they're not in English, not in English. So that's one of the first things I do. What I was disappointed with later in the years that I coach is that the teams start responding to social media. So if a kid had a big social media following, we got to keep him. He has 100,000 followers. We'll get rid of this guy, and no one pays attention to him. Where this guy with 20,000 followers might have been better for the team than someone with 100,000 followers. But I did have CEOs and managers responding to social media.
It's interesting because I see that Basketball Australia's integrity unit is looking into it, and I'm thinking, what can they do? What can they realistically do? This is something that's got to be put in the hands of the law enforcement. They've got to track people down, give them fines, maybe small 3-month jail terms or whatever, depending on. I mean, when you're threatening people's lives and things, it's just ridiculous. It's gone through.
A little bit of double standard here, though. In this respect, this has been happening for players of color for a long time. The comments that I've been getting as a coach for years, and you don't say anything because you get the same thing that is usually, sit down, it's not a big deal, shut up, stop whining about it, it's that, so you just leave it alone. But this has been happening for players of color for a long time. I could go to my phone right now and show you one the other day that I accidentally didn't see from 2022.
Right.
I was like, whoa.
Were you coaching in 2022?
It was a doozy.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa. So, it just kind of, it's been happening for a long time, but I definitely think it needs to stop. We need to just go through and just, eradicate, try to block or get rid of the negativity. These guys are out there working hard. I mean, Scott Roth is a great coach, even though they are where they are. He's not a worse coach than he was last year, and the players are still great players. They're just having a bad run.
Yeah, I received a fan letter early in my journalistic career where it was criticising me for pictures of players of colour. It was one of those sorts of letters having a crack at me because of what are you doing promoting these guys, this sort of stuff. And I got quite distraught about it. And my sports editor came up and took it from me and said, it's not signed. Have a look at the back of the envelope. There's no return address. If they don't put their name on it, you'll put your name on everything you do. If they don't, disregard it and throw it away. And that was a good lesson for me right then and there. But as I said, today's kids have grown up with looking at their phones, and now it's impossible for them to look away. I really think law enforcement needs to get involved in this.
Well, yeah, I definitely think as well. When someone purposely try to or go at you and make you live in fear, definitely something needs to be done.
On a more positive note, Mitch Norton, 350 games. Who'd have thought? Now, we've got a picture of him here with Mike Kelly when he was a ball boy, and Mike Kelly was a player for the Townsville Crocodiles. And, I mean, there's been some footage floating around of someone dunking over the top of him when he was a little kid sitting in the chair and he's throwing the ball up. And it's been an amazing career, wouldn't you think?
It's been an amazing career. He's one of those guys, the ultimate competitor. Just always seems to hurt you in some way. Obviously, if he's on your team, he's great for you. But coaching against him all those years, he just always found a way to hurt you somehow. He's not much of a scorer, and then all of a sudden he has 25. He locks down the import from another team, and he shouldn't have any business being able to guard. Always crafty with his hands and getting steals and getting in places. And he's had an injury run, but it's because he sacrificed his body so much.
Yeah.
He's always putting his body on the line, so he's going to get hurt more than other players who are ducking and getting out the way. But I thought he's had a fabulous career. Hats off to you.
Yeah, do you recall the Perth-Melbourne Grand Final Series where he was severely injured and he just kept playing? And it was an amazing performance, and congratulations to Mitch. Final question before we go to a break. Illawarra Hawks, are they starting to worry you a little bit?
Yeah, they're not playing with as much shine as they were before but, all teams are going to go through a run, a bad one and a good one. And they're probably just having a bad run right now and lost the last 3 or 4. But I'll look for them to bounce back. Quality coach and Tatum, quality players, they're going to bounce back. Okay.
Well, we're going to be right back. I'm going to go stretch my legs. Joey's going to powder his nose. When we come back, you won't notice any difference.
At Shoot HQ, we offer an innovative multi-ball screen experience that adds an element of fun to skill development. Our interactive screen allows you to engage in fun, digitalized games while improving your ball handling skills, passing, and stamina.
And we're back, and like I said, you haven't noticed any difference whatsoever. You'd be thrilled, I would think, at the news coming out this week that Gold Coast is going to get a basketball venue, 12,000-seat facility on the Broadwater at Southport. So I'm figuring that's probably somewhere by SeaWorld or something, somewhere down that way. This is being built in anticipation of the 2032 Brisbane Olympic Games. And they're talking now, the Mayor, Tom Tate, is talking strongly about we need an NBL presence back here, and that it could start, the venue could be available, it'll be available before the Olympics, but they could already start the team by the 28-29 season. So your reaction to that?
It's huge. I was playing on the Gold Coast and coaching on there for 4 years. The fans used to come out. It was a great feel. We had a real LA feel in the building. It was a real good feel, and to replicate that again would be awesome. Tom Tate's always been really good with basketball, and when we were there on the Gold Coast, he supported us big time. He was like our #1 fan. So if he's behind it, hopefully it'll happen.
Yeah, well, it looks pretty good, and they seem to think that there's a greater community that would support the sport now. There's been a lot of growth in junior basketball in that region, so that we had the Rollers. Actually, they were the Gold Coast Cougars became the Rollers. It's the same club, and then we had the Blaze. So 2 have fallen over, and people say, "Oh, you can't succeed in the Gold Coast," but you'd believe you can. Wouldn't you?
Yeah, the community is a transient community. A lot of people, you don't meet a lot of people from Gold Coast. But now with the NBL being, international New Zealand, it does have a lot of Kiwis there on there that support basketball big time. But the growth of basketball in that community is huge. I was just there for a week, and to see the facilities they have there that are now packed and is still growing. 2 of the biggest clubs in Queensland are down there with Gold Coast and Seahawks. So it's the community is just growing. It's huge, and in between Brisbane and Gold Coast, it's now a community. So you have all those people that'll support basketball as well. So it's a great basketball area. If they get a facility there, it'll be a big club.
What are the emergency services like in the hospitals? That's where you would have to have gone with your hammy, wouldn't it? Are they top class as well?
That is tough. That is tough.
Just quickly though, I mean, if we get Gold Coast and we go to 11, you sort of, you're probably thinking there's a 12th club that needs to come in. Where would you see a 12th club? If Gold Coast, because the NBL is very supportive of a Gold Coast entity, so if that happens and it looks that way, where would 12 come from?
The 12th club, I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know another good area. Tasmania, I don't think could support another one.
What about New Zealand, Wellington?
No. I think that'll be a tough. Just financially, putting another team over there as far as travel and all that stuff is pretty big time, and you wouldn't get much more sponsorship out of it by having 2 teams there.
Canberra?
Yeah. not that it didn't work. I mean, the last Canberra couple franchises up there were really tough and really good. But yeah, I don't know the commercial benefit of coming out of there. Townsville would be great. I'd love to see a franchise back in Townsville. That was one of the greatest places to play at. It was tough. It was real tough. I mean, the teams were tough up there, and you talking about getting called names. I couldn't walk around Townsville without copping it.
Really?
Big time, big time. It was a great night. It was a great place to play. Townsville, I would out of any place, it's Townsville. Once again, don't know the commercial benefit, but Townsville.
Yeah. There you go, Townsville. Return of the Crocodiles, along with Gold Coast, whatever they're going to be called. All right, in the NBA this week, we've seen Dyson Daniels at the Atlanta Hawks go head-to-head against Josh Giddey from the Chicago Bulls. Let's have a little bit of a look at how this went, because the two of them are Melbourne boys. They played together in juniors, so this is fantastic that they're doing their thing in the NBA.
Most of the guys played. I love the intensity. They're doing a good job of touching the paint and not settling.
Giddey. And he gets the roll.
A nice move by Giddey. He's occupying 2 guys. Hawks doing a great job of being able to slip, and he's dumping it off for the finish at the rim.
Vucevic for 3.
Yeah, Vucevic is one of those guys we highlighted.
Carter been out of the rotation this season. Giddey drills a 3. That's one part of his game that's really picked up from OKC. Dosunmu. Giddey. Short clock here. Phillips gets a lay-in. Trey on the lob. Taken away by Giddey. Just a bit too tall for Onyeka. But how he spotted him, I'll never know. Dosunmu, corner 3. The Bulls starting to heat up from 3-point range. Williams, in and out 3. Rebound Giddey. Josh underneath, and a dunk for Jalen Smith, and that's the first Chicago lead of the game. Giddey. Boy, tough drive.
It's a tough drive because I thought...
And of course we saw Jack McVay, one of your former players, make his first NBA basket for the Houston Rockets, which is fantastic.
It is fantastic just to see this kid go from, being a little skinny, and when I say skinny kid at 14, 15 years old, playing in the NBA and doing this thing, and just to see all that hard work come to fruition is just great. Like, I know what Jack was doing. He was bugging everybody around town to get me in the gym, waking up at 6 a.m. in the morning, 5:30 a.m. in the morning, getting to the gym. He's just phenomenal, and he put in the work, and it's just paying off. So happy for him.
Luke Travers also scored his first NBA basket, but he's back in the G League, and this is what he did in the G League.
Luke spinning, doubled. Tabaniga drives and scores, hammers with 2 hands. Luke's got 6. Harmon looks inside, overplayed by Travers, knocked it away. Coming down the lane! Gets it back, 4-on-1. Gives it to Hicks, left block, blocked away by Travers! How about the defense? 2-on-1, alley-oop! Bernard to Travers! Slams it home. Man, that's a 4 or 5 from the free throw line. Luke Travers, 0 steps, just bangs over the top. James had it, lost it, grabbed by Luke, bounces. Hutchison gonna go on. Harmon drives and scores with the left hand. Chandler Hutchison, 6 points. While the Mad Ants had all their players, all their 2-ways, blocked away by Hutchison. And the Charge were able to upset the Mad Ants as the fast break run to perfection. Nance slams it home off the nifty dish from Travers. 6 of 34 from beyond the arc, just 17%. Mad Ants open the fourth quarter with the basketball, front court to the right, knocked away. There's the steal, picked up by Travers. Gives it to Hunt, coming down the left side, drives and scores. Faron Hunt, first 2 points, as good as it could be. And here this afternoon, Charge really, again, considering it's game 1, really good basketball. Swish by Luke Travers, 24. 55 games with Capital City last year, or in his career, pardon me, 17.5 rebounds the last 2 seasons. Travers with the steal, 3-on-1 coming down the right side, drops the Hunt, slams with 2 hands.
And now we're on to Joey's favourite segment, Coach's Corner. Fire away, Joey.
George Karl made a comment in the NBA about coaches losing power and that the players are running the league, and it's bad for the league. And I agree with that from this standpoint. And not just in basketball, but any business. You have to have one common focus, one common direction for things to go well. And what a great coach does is give everybody purpose on the team, all right? And he gives them one common goal that they can all focus on and go at. If you got players running, players are going to have different opinions about what's going on. Might be totally right. It might be, totally right. But if the other 3 players on the team don't get it, then it's wrong. So what a great coach's job is to do is to make sure everybody's doing it the same way and not necessarily the right way. If you get everybody to do the same way, you're going to win more games than doing it the right, with 3 people doing it the right way and 3 people doing it a different way. Mm-hmm. So I just think right now the players are having too much power, too much control, because they have more fan appeal than coaches do. Then the CEOs and the owners, they respond more to that, because once again, fan appeal is so important right now. The social media is influencing a lot of those decisions being made, and that's why the players have so much influence.
Well, George Karl is a former NBA head coach and in the Hall of Fame. This time he's actually said quite a few things, and he wasn't plugging a book. Not that anybody would be plugging a book at any given time, but he wasn't plugging a book. He was basically saying that players got way too much power. This whole thing about load management, when you're playing, you'll be getting paid for an 82-game season plus playoffs, and people expect to see you that all this stuff is rubbish, and the league should look into it.
Yeah, look, the guys have been playing 80-game seasons for a long time, and they've been getting through them for a lot less money. Nothing's changed. These athletes are more athletic than they were in the past, so they should be able to play even more. I just think it's ridiculous. Load management, don't play. Just don't play. Go play, 30-game season in Australia. Go play a 40-game season in Europe somewhere. Don't play an 80-game season. Don't refuse the money if you don't want to play. So I don't know. The NBA should just fine them heavily, or put them in violation of contract if they don't play, whatever it be. But Joel Embiid saying he can, he get load management. Stop eating those burgers, buddy, before the game.
We're back, and we're going to just do it and give you our predictions for this round of NBL, round 9. We've got Tasmania hosting Brisbane.
Tasmania.
Well, that's easy. I agree. We've got Perth and Southeast Melbourne. That's 6th versus 7th.
I'm gonna go with Perth on that.
I want to take a punt on Southeast Melbourne.
Why is that?
Because I just think their form has been pretty good lately since Josh King came in and Sam McKinnon. They're winning more games than they're losing now. I thought I blame you.
They got a little lucky. They got a lot of lucky. Every team they play, the best players out.
Well, Cairns was going to be an obvious win, but I blame you for their loss against Sydney.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why.
Why?
Because I think you're the one that told Nathan Sobey that when it comes down to it, the star on the team has to win the game for you. I think you're the one that said that to him, because he took that to heart and he made a bunch of mistakes in the last 5 minutes, and they went from 10 up to losing quite comfortably. Jalen Adams was the Jalen Adams we know. I don't completely blame you, because Malik Lewis blocked his shot and then did a Scottie Pippen over Patrick Ewing.
Yep.
To Jalen Adams, and Jalen Adams got 11 points from there to the end. Took over the game 7 in a row. Took over the game. So, but apart from that, I do like the way
You like blaming me for that?
I'm not blaming you for that one.
Well, Nate and Sobe probably got them close to being there. Without him, they probably wouldn't even been close to being in that situation.
Yeah,
So
I'd like to see a bit more Ben Air.
I like to see a little more Ben Air, but we can't disregard what Nate does. He does a good job out there.
Okay, Cairns is at home to New Zealand.
I'm gonna have to go with New Zealand on that. Just Cairns, they don't have the bodies out there right now.
Big game of the round, I think. It's Illawarra against Sydney, and if they're going to get their crap together, this is the game to do it.
Yeah, and they've had their number on Sydney. So I'm going to roll with Illawarra on this one. I think they're fighting back. I think this is their bounce back game.
Right, I agree with you. I think the other big game of the round is Melbourne hosting Adelaide. That's 1 versus 4. And if Adelaide's going to do anything, then again, they have to step up to this one.
I think Adelaide gets it.
Do you?
Yeah, I think they get it. They've been playing really good last game they played really good basketball. I think this is a big game. They understand it. I think that's a team that plays on energy. I think they play on energy, and if it's a big game, they'll play. The problem with them, I think the sleeper games, the games that, a midweek game in New Zealand or something like that where they're not paying attention and it's not locked, that's where I think they struggle at. But the big games, I think they win the big games.
Okay, well, I'm going to stay with Melbourne because we're not going to show that footage of Chris Goulding again, but they are travelling reasonably well. So I'm going to take a punt on the home side. But yeah, that's another great game of the round. And the last one is Brisbane and Perth in Brisbane.
So they're coming back. I'm going to go with Brisbane on that one.
Really?
Yeah. If they've just paid down in Perth, same 2 teams, come back home, that typically always goes back to the home team.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of, they're going to be drained. It's going to be some energy issues in Brisbane. I'm thinking if Perth win that one down there, then Brisbane come back and be a little bit hungry.
All right, well, I'm going to lean towards Perth because I just like all the subs. It's fantastic. Just watching them coming in and out and fans coming in. Come on, it's your turn.
I don't know why you disregard that so much. As a strategy, you give a lot of players a look in the first quarter because you might find one that's hot.
Yeah.
And if you find one that's hot, that guy can ride you in. So you got a guy that's a second, coming off the bench. You don't put him into middle of the second quarter. He ain't going to show you much. You get him in early in the game, he thinks he's a part of it. All of a sudden, he starts to roll, and all of a sudden, you got him plus the guy that started in front of him that's ready to go.
Yeah,
so that's just a coaching strategy.
Get in there for 1 minute, run up and down twice, get out. Yeah, I'm sure that really makes a huge difference. Yeah, all right, well, look, if you like this stuff, subscribe.
And like.
Yeah, and leave a comment. Definitely leave a comment. And we'll be back same time next week.